Hello, welcome to HR Insights with SN. And today we'll be discussing managing your manager. Our guest is Glory Odejimi. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you, Stella.
Wow, thank you. It's been an amazing, we've known from way back, and I'm happy to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so why did you choose human resource space industry, if I'll put it that way, and for how long have you been practicing?
Sincerely, I don't think I chose human resources. I found myself there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Would I say, fortunately, unfortunately, a day before passing out of youth service.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was invited for an interview in a HR consulting firm.
Because I know your background is in law.
Yeah, I was actually looking at going to do my exam to be a chartered secretary, so I could work as, a legal secretary in one big oil and gas or gas institution. So that was my dream. But I had to. So when I was invited for the interview, I didn't want to accept it because I wanted, these high-rise buildings, working there as their legal
Such a dream.
So 2 days after my passing out, I got the offer of employment, and my brothers kept insisting that you have to resume work. So I found myself there.
Wow. So for how long now has that been?
Like 16 years.
Oh, whoa, 16. Where was I in the industry? Wow. Welcome again to the show.
Thank you.
So what does it mean to manage your manager, and why is it important? Because really, as a manager, the very primary thing you should be doing is manage people. But in this instance, we're talking about you as an employee managing your manager. Why is it important?
Yeah, it's very important because at the end of the day, we're still dealing with people. So irrespective of you being the manager or you being the managee, everybody has to be managed at the end of the day. And in working relationships, there are conflicts, getting to understand personality differences and traits. So it's important to manage different people. Now, the manager is important because your manager, irrespective of the fact, again, that he is a manager or she's a manager, this person actually still has personality traits which might be different or clashes with yours, and in order to be able to work in a conducive atmosphere, as in two people working together or a team working together, it's highly advisable to understand who you work with and manage the person.
Wow. So we are familiar with phrase like make your boss look good. What does it mean? And would this not be seen as trying to carry favor or, for your manager?
Well, making your boss looks good is trying to make the work more effective and efficient. So most times you see bosses come into a different terrain. It's not like they are not good enough to be bosses, but they might not have hands-on experience in that particular field. And in another light, you would see some employees having that feeling or thinking that they actually know more than their bosses. So you talk and they want to bring up suggestions, bring us advices. That really doesn't look good or sound good. You might bring up, maybe try to rephrase it. Instead of giving your boss advice, you can throw it open as a suggestion and let your boss think through it and see if he or she would agree to it. Not just coming forward to say, this is how we used to do it here. This is how it's done in this industry. This is how it's done in this company. No, I think we should do it like this. That doesn't look too good. Bring it up as a suggestion, and if he or she is okay with it, they float it. Then also making your boss look good. Maybe not backbiting your boss in private. So I always tell people, whether you've worked with this person for 10 years, 15 years ago, still speak positive about the person. Because whether we like it or not, everybody that we've worked with, they are part of our career ladder. Yeah. So we owe them that respect. So because I worked with you 10 years ago doesn't still give me the right to be in another place and speak ill of you, because Whether I like it or not, you still occupy a part of my career ladder. So I would still respect that.
Okay. So there are some bosses as well or managers that would want to take credit for what an employee has done. For instance, let's assume that there is a board meeting and there is this presentation or maybe just management meeting, and there is an opportunity to say, okay, these ideas we may need to use to expand the business and grow it, and the executive management adopts it. For me, don't you think at some point the manager should actually give credit to the original owner and not just, absorb such credit and just keep it to himself? Because of course, that will also influence performance appraisal and how, the rating and all of those. So what would be your advice if there is a situation like that in any organization?
I would say it's an individual thing, not because the person is a manager.
Okay.
Even amongst our peers, we always want to drag that I was the one that did it, even amongst normal team members, So I would call it a personal thing, an individual thing, not a manager per se. But being a manager, there are some things that is expected of you, which is recognition. Yes, so a staff actually, your team member actually come up with an idea. I think it's fair enough to give credit to who did that. You see some bosses and even some chairmen, executives, top executives, they're giving a presentation somewhere and they're telling you, oh, you love my presentation. I actually did not do this. Somebody, they're trying to give credit to that person. But some others will just like, yeah, this is how I do my presentation. So I think it's individual differences, not bosses per se. But I think as a manager, we need to, at some point, understand what's expected from us and how do we need to behave so that even people working with us would have that trust. Because when you want to take credit for what you did not initiate, it actually loses that integrity. The trust line would be broken.
Very
and
true.
We really do not want trust lines broken.
Very true. Okay, so how can you tell a good manager-employee relationship in an organization?
A good manager relationship, first of all, I think the manager should have a very clear foresight of what the business wants or what his or her department wants. Employees like good communication. So if it's a compound bearing unit of HR team, for instance, you need to be able to say, this is how I see our unit in the next 6 months. These are the things we should do. Employees like to know what they are working for.
Yes,
why are we doing this particular task? They want to be engaged. They want to be communicated to properly. So if you have an idea, you shouldn't keep the idea to yourself. You should share it. And also, I think managers should also serve as coaches. You should be able to mentor the people that work with you, guide them, and understand that everybody has the different agility line. Everybody is not the same when it comes to being able to learn and adapt. We are different, but most managers will just pick the star boy or the star girl and ignore the other people.
Well, it's natural actually.
So that demoralizes the rest of the team. But then you now see people, backbiting, everybody dragging to. So that's where the Corey favor
can actually lead to a lot of competition.
Unhealthy competition because you've just picked a star boy or a star girl, not giving the rest people in the team room for growth.
Okay, so I want to digress a little. So how would you manage managers that, of course, for every employment, you have your job description. So now you have a manager that now says, please help me get this. Something really personal that is not within the scope of your work. And there are some employees that may not find that really funny. Yeah. What would be your advice to such employees?
Okay, so that's why manager and employee relationship, it's a two-sided thing. It's not really a one-size-fits-all. So for the manager, for instance, if you have like 7 people working under you, you should understand these 7 people. So for instance, the first place I worked under a lady and we were like 4 people working under her. But I'm just giving this personal experience. I realized that every day she rushes out of the office and she'll come back every day. It wasn't really convenient for her because sometimes she needs to prepare things for the MD and all that. So one day I approached her to ask where she usually goes. She said, her husband likes fresh meals, as in the vegetables has to be fresh. So she can't even buy them and keep. So every evening, she looks at the time between 2 to 4, she needs to rush to get vegetables to take home and prepare dinner. And I asked, I said, can I be doing it for you? So I didn't say it because I wanted favor in it, but I actually felt that pity for the woman, because coming back to work, she has a whole lot to do. But I was just starting my career then, and some days we actually go to work to just play around and be idle. So I had that spare time. I was like, let me do it for you. I did it for her for 3 years before I left the place. And nothing came out of me. In short, at the point, I was even happy because it made me learn how to even go to the market for my personal self, you know. So I was just doing it, and it didn't take anything from me. But some people will feel like, why should I go to the market for somebody? So I think for a manager, you should know who you can send on such errands, since it's really, really personal. Even some official drivers, you send them on some kind of personal errand, they want to talk back at you, and you might not like their response. So I think it's for us to understand the people working on the house and know what they will take and what they won't take. Some drivers, you come out from the car, whatever you have inside the car, it doesn't concern them. They just walk away and drop the key with you. But some, they pick it up and, you know, follow you upstairs to the house to drop it. I think it's just understanding who works with you, and everybody will be fine.
Wow. Thank you so much. Welcome back. And if you're just joining us, this is HR Insight with SN. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
What are the smart and practical ways to effectively manage even the most difficult manager?
When people use that word difficult managers, I always laugh because we call people difficult. We don't even know if we are difficult as well. So I wouldn't use the word difficult to anybody, but practically how to manage anyone. So you're working with someone for the first time. I think you should understand the person's codes. Some bosses would not like you just barging into their office because there's something urgent. They'll feel that, but you can call me with the intercom and ask. Some bosses wouldn't even want that facial contact. They would prefer you could send an email, you know, or a text. Some bosses wouldn't really like emails. They prefer WhatsApp messages. So, you know, it's for you to just quickly understand what works for this particular boss, and you adapt to the person. For some bosses, certain ways to respond, it irritates them. So you see you ask them questions and they'll say, I'll try. You know, that's even me. I think I get irritated with that word. Same here. I will try.
Just do it. Get it done.
So, you know, you just want to know how this person wants her responses, and take feedback. You know, always just take feedback and see how to adopt from your feedback, and you're good.
Wow. So what would be that one thing you want to change in the HR space if given the opportunity to?
HR. So for a lot of HR, I know we've been saying we want to sit at the table. It's been a struggle. Some are sitting at the table right now. Some are still sitting
on the floor. Some are hanging on the fence.
I think maybe with time, coaching should really be more HR.
Okay.
Yeah, so HR knows how to be a champion as far as coaching is concerned. So we know how to manage each and every of our clients, our internal clients. And so most times the organization goes through threats, and you see that HR might be sidelined during this time because they feel that we are not practical, we are not operational. Yes. We don't even understand what they are going through right now. You know, so if HR could really work with other departments, you know, to understand all these things. So in cases of disruptions, we should be able to manage and advise our organizations properly.
Wow. Thank you so much. We're grateful to have you here, and we look forward to another amazing session with you.
Thank you very much, SN.
On behalf of our sponsors, partners, and producer, we say a big thank you for joining in. Please stay connected. Till next time.